One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to One Question. Our guest today is Jacqie McWilliams. Jacqie is currently the commissioner of the CIAA. Greetings, Jacqie. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Now, Jacqie, we are a few weeks away from the start of the CIAA Basketball Tournament, which is a major event there in Charlotte. It brings probably 150 to 200,000 people into the city, and then for the game specifically, between 11,000 and 12,000 people come to the city with 44 official CIAA events and who knows how many events that are peripheral tied to those 200,000 people that come into the city, right?
Exactly.
This is a big undertaking, and it's there in Charlotte, and Charlotte is a top 25 media market which has multiple pro teams and all types of entertainment options. How have you, well, even the CIAA before you got there and then now how do you ensure that the city leaders consistently buy into the vision of the CIAA and its basketball tournament?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ty. I think it's really important to engage with city officials and community leaders here. I mean, we can run a tournament. There's no doubt. No matter where we go, we can run a tournament. But it's really important to have the community support in order to execute all the great things that we are doing. If we were just running a basketball game, it probably wouldn't need as much community, I guess, support outside of selling tickets. But I mean, we are in Charlotte, like we are residents of Charlotte. We are leaders in Charlotte. I serve on some boards and committees in Charlotte. And so, how we engage and be involved from our board all the way to city council, to the mayor's office, to Fred Whitfield, CEO of the Spectrum Arena, Tom Murray with the Regional Visitors Bureau. I mean, we are all friends and part of the family. So I think being a part of their leadership team and then being a part of ours, we have created our, I guess, community leadership team to make sure that we have the resources and the opportunities available to execute the tournament and do all the events that we just said, or that we do, but also run the tournament and have dollars to go back to scholarships. It's a huge undertaking, there's no doubt, but I just think when you build those relationships and you build trust and tell the story of the why, and everybody understands the why, then you really get buy-in for what you're doing. And I believe everyone, from our sponsors to our student athletes, our member schools in the city here, believe in the why.
Right. And you mentioned relationships, and with those leaders, you mentioned the leadership team, the ideas, right, to grow the tournament. I read somewhere that I did think you guys may have added another venue either this year or last year to where you're going to play, and those events that you put on. Do ideas usually come from CIAA, or is that team of city leaders and other people around the city? Do you guys exchange ideas on how to make the tournament great, or even make it greater than it was in previous years?
Yeah, I think every year, we evaluate our challenges and we evaluate our successes. So I think there's an opportunity after each championship to come back and say what worked, what didn't work, what do you think we can do. I'm excited. We haven't even got through this tournament, but I'm excited about the dialogue that we're having for 2019 with the city and building another experiential for our fans and guests that come in the city. And so that alone is exciting. Some of it is so that we can control some of the platform that's going on in the branding of not just the city, but also with CIAA. I think when you come to a city like Charlotte that's huge in the market across the country, I think the brand of being in the Queen City is just as important to them as the brand of the CIAA. So when you partner two very strong brands, you want to make sure you do all you can do to partner and to protect that. And so the ideas come from how do we help each other, provide exposure, but also support why we're here, and that's for a basketball tournament. So between our local organizing committee that works together, we meet weekly from January until the tournament, but we meet monthly starting in August, to the advisory group that we have created of CEOs and key leaders in the city, to the CIAA board and the CIAA tournament committee. There's a lot of discussion and collaboration, and I will say that I think I have one of the best teams of operators and executors, that the ideas are always coming in. We have to prioritize what the ideas are so we can stay focused on what our priorities are annually. But I do think there's a collaborative effort on the ideas. But I tell you, I wake up with ideas all the time. Folks will start scattering when I say I have an idea, and then it's assumed that it should just happen. But I have to be realistic that things have to happen in time, in reason, in a season.
Well, I'd imagine you and those ideas are probably what helps you to be successful at what you're doing, and you probably have a great staff around you that that will tell you, that's a great idea. Here are the things that we can probably do to execute it or not do to execute
it. Exactly.
You mentioned evaluation. What went well and what didn't go well. My thoughts on leadership are that a part of it is consistent evaluation, right? Don't just be satisfied that things went great. Let's figure out why it went great so we can improve on it, and then also figure out what our challenges were. How do you evaluate an event at this scale? Because I'm sure it has a lot more to do than what happens on the court, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what is the evaluation process for something?
Yeah, so immediately after the tournament, but even we had a call today just to talk to our tournament committee, and one of the things I say to them all the time, they have to be our eyes and our ears and our feet. Where the places that we can't get to, they need to pay attention and be observant and tell us what you're hearing. I always say, what are you hearing out there? I mean, what are people saying? What is it that we need to do? So we got the street talk that we evaluate to manage expectations. But again, some of the street talk, they don't have any connection with our schools or understanding of who we are. So some of the street talk you have to filter out, right? So then on the other side, we do observation documents. We do online surveys with our student athletes and our membership and our board. So we always ask for feedback. And then we work with the city to do an economic impact survey. And in that survey, we have tons of questions. And we send that survey out to all of our ticket holders and every email address that we have in our database. And we use the social media platforms that we have so that everybody has an opportunity to give their feedback and response. We do meetings with our sponsors at the end of the year. We get their feedback, things they like to see, what's not working. So a lot of feedback from student athletes to our ADs, our board, like everyone gets to have a say. But I think how we compile that and kind of streamline what's important, what fits in and what doesn't, I think we have a good enough team and a great enough committee to evaluate that to determine what next steps are to make improvements.
Right.
Yeah.
And constantly improve. And is there, out of that process you just mentioned over the last year or two, has there been one significant improvement that you think will have a big impact on this year's tournament?
I think we'll see. I mean, I said today, we added a new component. We changed a couple things. So every year we're changing stuff, and that doesn't mean that it's good. I think, we're trying to pay attention to our fans, and, whether attendance goes down or attendance goes up, we're trying to figure out the why. Some of our fans are seasoned fans. They have been with the CIAA, generational CIAA fans, and some of them are not able to come anymore, but we're hoping that their grandkids or some of the millennials and these students will get. So we're trying to drive that traffic, and so I think the ability to have an understanding of our fans and our spectators constantly. We adjusted ticket prices, and we said we would not adjust those again until 2020, because every time we change it every year, it just gets confusing on messaging. We changed the seating arrangement, so now this year you purchase a ticket if you're not in the reserved or in a suite or on the founders level, your general seating. So it's like first come, first serve. That is new for our fans. They're used to the seat they purchase every year for the last 15 years. And so to say now that this seat is general seating, you should get there early. Some don't like it. But what I said to my team, it's like when we changed our ticket card, when we changed books of tickets to a ticket card, folks complained about that. But then once they got it and they could stick it in their pocket or put it in their wallet, it was like, oh my God, this is the best thing you've ever done. So I think it's just, we're making calculated risk, and making changes to make sure that, one, it fits in our budget, it can prioritize what we said we wanted to do, and hopefully it works. And if it doesn't, we'll come back to the table. But every year, I think we're just trying to figure out how do we continue to engage our fans and make them feel good about the product. I want them to feel like when I go to Disney, and I'm upset that I paid all this money for a hotel and a ticket to get in. But once I get in, I'm like, this is the best experience ever. And I don't ever think about it again. And I want to come back.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Well, okay. So my final question here. The tournament started back, I guess, in 1946. And at the first tournament, there were roughly 3,000 people here. So it's been a big tournament since it started, right? Since the provenance of the tournament. This ties to you and your career. Right, you spent nine and a half years, almost 10 years at the NCAA. You worked in championships. You were director of Division I women's basketball tournament and the men's basketball tournament over that span. How did your time prepare you for leading the conference, but then also organizing, managing, and leading such a large-scale event?
Yeah, that was probably one of my best career moves. I had worked at 4 other locations prior to getting there, and almost kicked and screamed about moving to Indiana because I really like the East Coast. But one of my mentors said that opportunity to go to the NCAA and learn and then bring that back, like you may not get that opportunity again. And so I'm so thankful that I listened to that wise advice to go to Indianapolis and learn about the business on that large scale of an association. And similarly, like CIAA, we're a membership organization like the NCAA. We're members of the NCAA. Our schools are members of the CIAA, and we're members of the NCAA. And so this learning the organizational structure and how to be a business and be professional in the business, regardless if you are, a predominantly white or predominantly black conference or institution, there's still a way to run your business to be excellent. And so that piece of learning it and being around some of the best in the business and sitting around CEOs and individuals who are making key decisions for the NCAA and being able to observe, listen, or even be a part of the conversation is just something that in my mind I never imagined that would happen. And so the preparation of gaining the confidence and understanding that I have value regardless if I'm a woman or I'm black,
Right.
that I can sit at the table and negotiate with the best of the best and have confidence in that. As long as I'm prepared, I've done my homework, and I'm able to communicate effectively to influence decision makers. And so that has allowed me to come here and take all those skills, but also, I ran the hotel program, the community program, the external side for men's. I was involved with all the pieces of operational for women's basketball, and prior to working for those two, I worked with the other championships. I had track and field, golf, bowling, volleyball, so I had those sports as well, and then I was a former athlete, and a coach. So when you can put all that together, golly, it's such a blessing. Like, in my mind, I'm just very, very thankful that my path that I never even knew that it would take me to this, that's where it did. And this ended up being my dream job. So I feel absolutely blessed and grateful that I have the opportunity to bring all the things that I've learned to this place and hopefully leave it better than what I came into.
Exactly. Well, it sounds like that was an excellent experience that prepared you for what you're doing now, and you're still learning, still growing, still making things around you. Great. Well, Jacqie, I think this has been an excellent conversation into the insight of an event that many people look forward to every year, and I definitely appreciate you joining us here on One Question.
Oh, thank you, Ty. I appreciate you wanting to talk to us. CIAA is awesome, so thank you so much.
That was Jacqie McWilliams. She's the commissioner of the CIAA, and this is Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.